Good morning, everyone.
Today we are going to see the nested queries. So basically speaking, nested queries consist of subqueries, okay, and subqueries with joins, nested subqueries, correlated subqueries, subqueries in the having clause, and then at the end we have some transactions like transactions with the help of start, commit, and rollback. So that all we are going to check over here today. So basically speaking, when you talk about the subqueries, so what is actually subqueries? As you can see, a subquery is an SQL query nested inside a large query. So for example, a subquery may occur in select clause, from clause, or the where clause. Okay, so subquery is a part which can exist anywhere. So the possibilities are in the select part, or either in the from part, or either in the where part of the query. So the subquery can be nested inside a select, insert, update, or delete. So you can use subqueries with insert also, update also, and as well as delete also. Okay, and you can use within other select queries as well as inside it, which is called as nested subqueries. So subquery is usually added within the where clause of another SQL select statement. So this is a condition that you need to remember. The subquery is usually added within the where clause. So where clause is normally where we use the subqueries. So you can use the comparison operator such as greater than, less than, or equals to comparison operator can allow or also be a multiple row operator such as you can use in, any, or all. So if you are not using less than, greater than, equals to, so there are some alternate options for you. So the alternate options given is like in, any, or all. So subquery is also called an inner query or inner select, while the select contains a subquery also called as the outer query or outer select. Okay, so this is how we define the queries, either inner query or either the outer query. So there will be two select statements within one single select. Then afterwards you can see over here the inner query executes first and before its parent's query, so that the result of an inner query can be passed to the outer query. So you can use a subquery in a select, insert, update, delete statement before the following task. So that is compare an expression to the result of the query, determine if a query is included in the result of the query, and check whether the query selects any rows. Okay, so this is how we define the subqueries in select, insert, update, and delete. Okay, so afterwards you can see that normally the syntax that we use over here is this way, that is select, and then afterwards we can write the select command over here, that is the subquery from table, where we can define the expression operator like greater than, equals to, less than, or in, any, or. Then we go for the select again a subquery. So this is the actual concept of using the subquery. There is a select statement first, and then afterwards at the end in the where clause we get the another select query. So actually what happens when the inner queries execute, it will give you a result, and based on that result we are doing what, filtering again on the parent select query. So this is actually happening over here. Okay, after that the subquery, that is the inner query, execute once before the main query, that is the outer query executes. The main query, outer query has like used the subquery results as I told you. SQL subquery is an example. Like in this section you will learn the requirements of using subqueries. We have the following two tables, student and the marks, with common field student ID. Okay, so we are having two tables over here. The first table that is called as the student table, and the second table that is called as the marks table. So in the student table we have the student ID in the name, and in the marks table we have the student ID with the total marks. Okay, So now we want to write a query to identify all students who get better marks than that of the student whose student ID is V002, but we don't know the marks of V002. Okay, so this is the thing that we are looking into. That means we are searching or comparing based on the criteria. The criteria is that is V002 is the one. V002 is the one whose ID is to be compared with others, but we don't know the actual result of that. So first what we'll do, we'll find the result of the V002 student ID, and then with that we are going to compare with other students. Okay, so this is how we use the sub queries over here. So I hope so you get the point. So how to write it down? Now you can see select star from marks where student ID equals to V002. So this will do what? It will show the results only for the student ID with V002. Okay, that is the first query. But now based on that, what we want to do, we want to use this marks to get query with result with other ones. So the result of the query is 80. Using the result of this query, here we have written another query to identify the students who get better marks than 80. Here is the query. So how we write it down over here? Select a dot student ID, a dot name, b dot total marks from student A marks B, where a dot student ID equals to b dot student ID and b dot total marks is greater than 80. So this is how we write it down when we know the marks, and then we write it down in combining the two tables and then showing it as a one single table. Okay, like the joins that we were using over here. Okay, so this will show the result like this. So now you get the idea, like 80, more than 80, the two students have got the marks, 95 and the 81. Okay, so basically speaking, above two queries identify student who get the better marks than the student whose ID is V002, that is Abhay. So now you can combine the above two queries and placing one query inside the other, and the sub query, also called as the inner query, is the query inside the parenthesis. See the following query. So now what we are doing, we are going to combine those two commands and take it as one, which is called as sub queries. So now you can see the code over there. Select the code. We have a dot student ID, b a dot name, b dot total marks from student A, comma marks B, where a dot student ID goes to b dot student ID and b dot total marks greater than. Now what is the condition that you see over here is round bracket opens, parenthesis is there, and then what we write, select total marks from marks where student ID equals to V002. So now it's not like that we can write multiple commands many times. Now we can write all of them in one single command. So this is the concept that is provided as like sub queries. This is known as sub queries. Okay, so now I assume that you got the idea like how the sub queries works. Okay, the pictorial representation can also be viewable over here. Okay, so what is there? The first command did what and the second command did what. So this is the pictorial representation over here. So the outer query is the blue one and the inner query is the red one. So what happens, first the inner query executes, it will fetch you the result. Based on that, that result value will be used to compare the or find the results in the outer query. Okay, so this is how we use the sub queries. Okay guys, so just try to check it out. It's a very simple one, and based on that we get the desired output. So there are some rules regarding to that sub queries, and what is the rules over here? A subquery select statement is almost similar to the select statement, and it is used to begin a regular or outer query. Here is the syntax of the subquery. So this is the rule that we need to follow over here. Select distinct subquery, select arguments from table name, view name, table name, view name, and then where search condition, group by, aggregate expressions. Okay, so this is the syntax that is available for the subquery, and it's up to your opinion that how you use it. Okay, so I hope so this is clear to everyone. Okay, after that We have the having clause also that you can see at the bottom, having search condition. So in short, this is the complete subquery that has been there, and this is how we can use the subqueries into our systems. Okay, now subquery guidelines, like when to use and when not to use. So there are some guidelines to consider when using subqueries. A subquery must be enclosed in parentheses. First of all, the main important point is you need to write the subqueries in the parentheses. Okay, a subquery must be placed on the right side of the comparison operator. Every time if we are going to put the subquery, it should becomes on the right side over here. Subquery cannot manipulate the results internally, therefore order by clause cannot be added into the subquery. You can use an order by clause in the main select statement, outer query, which will be last clause. Okay, so what they're telling you, if you are using an order by clause, so for that subquery is not able to work on. So you can use the order by clause in the main select query, not in the subquery. That's what they are trying to tell you over here is. Okay. Use single row operators with single row subqueries, because when we fetch one single result, based on that we can do the comparison. If you fetch multiple results, then comparison will not happen, because we need only one single value to compare with. We can't have multiple values to compare with, so this is not possible over here. That's why they're saying what single row operators with single row subqueries. If a subquery inner query returns a null value to the outer query, so the outer query will not return any row when using the certain comparison operators in the where clause. So this is how we need to define, that is when you are using a subquery that is an inner query and which returns a null value. So what will happen? Will it compare for the outer query? No, this will not happen over here. So make sure whenever you are fetching some result, it should have some values. Based on that we can go for the outer query, otherwise it will not work. Okay guys. Okay, then afterwards, types of the subqueries, like we have multiple types over there, like single row subquery, multiple row subqueries, multi-column subqueries, correlated subqueries, and nested queries. So these are all the types of the subqueries that we have. Okay, so we'll look at one by one. Return 0 on one row, returns one or more rows, returns one or more columns, reference one or more columns in the outer cell SQL statement. The subquery is known as a correlated subquery because the subquery is related to the outer SQL statement, and subqueries are placed within the another subquery. So that we'll see it over here. Okay. So in the next session, like we have thoroughly discussed about the subqueries and types over here. Based on that, what we'll be using, like insert, update, and delete statement. So that's we are going to discuss from here. So if we talk about the insert, so insert statement can be used with subqueries. Here are the syntax that can be example of the subqueries using the insert statement. Okay, so this is the syntax that you can see over here. Insert into table, column 1, column 2, and so on. Select column 1, column 2 from table, that is table 1 or table 2, where value operator. So this is the common syntax that we can use over here to do what? Add the values into the table based on the another table. So this is how we can do it over here. Okay, so this is the simple concept that we can use for what? The queries, that is something called as subqueries. So subqueries are based on these concepts and logics. The logic is nothing but that we are going to compare, and based on the comparison we are going to put the values from that table to the new one table. So this is how we are going to use what? Insert into table. Okay, so I'm going to go with the next one topic over here. So for the insert, update, and delete, what you can do, that is for the reference point of view, that is an additional one, because actually that is not there in the syllabus, but for the reference point of view you can go with it. Okay, so now we are going to see what? Correlated subqueries. So SQL correlated subqueries are used to select the data from the table reference in the outer query. The subquery is known as a correlated because the subquery that you see over here is related to the outer query. So in this type of queries, a table alias like correlated name must be used to specify which table reference is to be used. So this alias is the pet name of a table which is brought about by putting directly after the table name in the form of clause. So this is suitable when anybody wants to obtain information from two separate tables, like the help we are using in the joins. Okay. Okay. Example of the SQL correlated subqueries, you can see the following correlated subqueries will retrieve order number and order amount, customer code and agent code from the table orders, that is A and B are the aliases of the orders and the agent table with the following conditions. So the agent code of the order table must be the same agent code of the agent table, and the agent name of the agent table must be Alex. The following SQL statement can be used like same table order, same table agents. So SQL code is given like this: select a dot order num, comma a dot order amount, a dot customer code, and a dot agent code from orders A. So this is the alias that we are giving a short name to the order table. Okay, where a dot agent code equals to, now we are writing what? Subquery. That is parenthesis is open, and then afterwards select b dot agent code from agent B, where agent B dot agent name equals to Alex. So this is how we can do what? Create the subqueries over here. So subqueries will help you to do this one. Okay. So I hope so this is clear to everyone. It's very simple one. The first we write it on the first table, and then we are fetching the data from the another table, and then based on that data we are going to compare within this table. So this is how we use the correlated queries. So you can see the order keyword is used in the outer query, not the inner. So inner cannot use the order keywords over here. Okay, so you need to remember that part. Then the output will be shown like this. So order number, order date, order number, order date, amount, and so on with the agent code, customer code with the agent code. So this is how we are fetching the data from the table based on the comparison, that is Alex. Okay, the simplified version of this code is, you can see over here, select a dot order number, a dot order amount, a dot customer code, a dot from orders A, where agent code equals to A003. So this is a simple version, but when we don't know the customer code at that time, what happens? So this is the problem. So that's why we are using what? Subqueries. So subqueries comes into the picture at that time when we don't know the what we are finding based on which criteria. Okay, so at that time we can define the subqueries over here. So we can see the pictorial representation over here. That will give you the basic idea. Okay. Okay, so that is the simple one, the simple command. Whereas what we are doing, we are searching based on what? Alex. So Alex is there in the table. Based on the Alex, what we are doing, we are searching that code, and based on that code, when we find that code, that is A003, then we are going for the next table from where we are going to compare that whether that agent code is being available in the second table or not. Okay, so based on that, what happens, we go for the another table that is called as order. So how many orders are being placed with the agent? Which agent? A003. So that is what we are going to search over here, and based on that, when we find it out, these are the codes, and then we display it over here like this. Okay, so now you get the idea. The data is distributed in two different tables, but we are going to fetch the data based on what? The criteria which we are having from the first table, and then comparing it with the second table, and after that what we are doing, we are displaying it. Okay, so this is how the subqueries are being handy and useful for us. Okay, so now we can use exist keyword in the correlated subquery. So we have already used the exist operator to check the existence of a result of a subquery. Existence means like not null. So if it is not null, it should have some value. So what, for that purpose, what we are using the word exist. So exist operator can be used in correlated subqueries also. So using exist, the following subqueries displays the employee ID, manager ID, first name and the last name of those employees whose manager like are other employees. So that you can use it over here as well as. So you can see the command for the example. Select employee ID, manager ID, first name, last name from employees A, where exist what? Select employee ID from employees B, where B dot manager ID goes to A dot employee ID. So this is how we do what? Define the subqueries in the help of exist keyword. What we are using the keyword over here? Exist keyword over here. Okay, and this will be the output over here. Okay, exist means it should contain some values. So this is the pictorial representation, like selecting the employee ID from employee, where my B dot manager ID is equal to A dot employee ID. So we are comparing whether the employee and the manager ID is matching or not. If it is matching, then we are displaying that these are all the managers with the employees code. Okay. So here exist means you can't get one single value, you'll get more than one value. Okay. So instead of that, we can use it over here. So we can do what? We have the managers over here for those employees. This is how we are comparing, that every manager will have employees under his category. So this is how what we are doing. We are searching the records over here. Okay. Okay, so now you get the idea. Who are the managers? Like from the data where we are having the managers and the employees, from that what we are doing, we are searching the managers having those employees under them. So that is what we are searching over here. These are all the managers, and based on these managers we have these employees also, which is under working the manager level. So this is how we are searching the records over here based on the subqueries. So you can go for the not exist also. So not exist is logically opposite of the exist. That means which is there is going to be find out based on what exists, and it is not there, it is also going to be find out on that basis also, because some of the employees might not be manager. So if you want to check it out like who are not manager, then we can use the keyword as not exist. Okay. So now the command will be the same as it is. The keyword is not exist. Instead of exist, what we are using? Not exist over here. Okay. Same command, there is no difference over there, but the output will be a different one. That is, it is not going to show you the managers, it is showing you the other employees which are not manager over here. Okay. So you can see that manager ID over here. And the list goes on. So the thing is, we can use exist and not exist. Exist is for what? That is, we can go for the new ones that is available in the table, and if you don't want to search based on that criteria other than that, then we go for the not exist. Okay. So this is the pictorial representation of the not exist. Unmatched rows. What is it saying? Unmatched rows. So this is what we are going to find out based on the not exist keyword. Okay. So the result is being displayed based on that criteria. Okay, now we'll see the nested subquery. That means one query is there. Within one query there is a subquery, and within that subquery there is one more query. So this concept is called as nested subqueries. Okay, so a nested subquery. So a nested subquery can be nested inside the other subqueries. SQL has an ability to nest queries within one another. A subquery is a select statement that is nested within another select statement and which returns the intermediate result. So SQL executes innermost queries that is the subquery first, and then the next level. So this is the sequence that the nested subqueries follows over here. Okay. If you want to retrieve that unique job IDs and average salary from the employees table, where which unique job ID have a salary smaller than the maximum of average of minimum salary for each unique job ID from the job table. So where job ID are the list picking from the job history table, which is within the department ID 50 and 100, the following SQL statement can be used. So you can see that there are multiple criterias, and those multiple criterias are being used to retrieve and find out the results. Okay, so the question over here is in simple words, you are using to find out the job IDs, okay, where average salary of the employees is like smaller than the maximum of average of unique job ID from the tables which are listed. So that means we are searching that smaller salary people with respect to the higher salary people. Okay, so that is what we are trying to compare over there, and we have some criteria also, that is job history, that is based on the job criteria, job history, like how much old the employee is. So that is all we are going to check over here based on what? Nested sub queries. Okay, got it. So the code is given over here, SQL code, that is select job ID, that is comma average salary, because we want to calculate the average salary over here from employees group by job ID having average salary which is less than. Now what is the less than criteria that we are giving over here? That is select max average minimum salary. So here what we are going to calculate the minimum salary, okay, from the jobs where job ID in, select job ID from the job history. So here what we are doing actually over here is we are searching the history of the people first, that is where the department ID is between 50 to 100. Okay, so what we are doing first we are searching for those employees with the department, in which department? 50 to 100. So these are the department we have. Within the department we are searching for the employees. Okay, and those employees we are going to calculate the minimum salary first, like what are the employees are having the minimum salary. So based on that, if the minimum salary is going to check on there, based on that we are going to calculate the average minimum salary, like how much average minimum salary the employee is getting. Okay, and after that we can find that what is the average salary of those all the employees from the department 50 to 100. So in simple words, we are searching into one level, second level, and the third level. So these are the types over here that we are defining from the sub query point of view. Okay, but they are all related with each other. So that's why it is called as correlated. So basically speaking, the above code is executed in 11G expression. So don't worry about it. MySQL and Oracle are having the same expressions because SQL is a common language for all the softwares. Okay. So this is a PostgreSQL that you can see over here. Same command is there. There's no difference over here. Okay. So select job ID and then job ID with that average salary for the first one, and then second one from employee job ID having average salary less than select my average from select job ID average min salary as my average. So these are the syntaxes that we have in different SQL statements from the software point of view. So Postgre is also an open source software just like MySQL, and that you can also use it over here. So there are three queries over here in short: nested query, a sub query, and the outer query. And these parts of the queries are runs in that order. So let's break the example down into three parts and observe the results returned. Okay, as I told you in the beginning, at first the nested subquery is as follows: select job ID from job history with department ID between 50 and 100. So this is the first query which is going to execute. Based on that, it will fetch the result for you. Okay, so this query is going to run first, and it is going to show you that the IDs which is from 50 to 100. Okay, the results of the job ID which is between what, 50 to 100. Okay, so here is the output. You can see it over there, like ST clerk, IT programmer, SA receptionist, SMA main, AD assistant, and AC account. So these are some of the like employees which we are searching the record for. Okay, now what we are going to do, find the average salary. Okay, so after that this result is going to be fetched into the second query, inner query. Okay, now based on this, what you can see in the pictorial representation, it is going to search for the clerk, search for the programmer, and so on. So based on that, it will get you what, department ID. Okay, that is 50 to 100, between that 50 to 100, not more than that. So this is what they're going to search over here. Okay, now this is the result which is going to be used in the next nested query over here. So select max average mean salary from jobs where job ID in output from the nested query will come over here, and group by job ID. So what will be done over here, you can see that select max average mean salary from jobs where job ID in. Okay, so this is a actual view that how it's happened. That is the inner query execute first, it will give you the result, and based on that the other query will fetch on these criterias only. So this is how we are using the nested subquery over here. Okay, and then afterwards this result is going to give you the output. Like the output will be like this, 10,000. So 10,000 is the average. How come? You can see it over there, like you have the values 3,000, 4,200, 10,000, 6,000, 2,000, 4,000, and so on. So based on that, average has been calculated, and what is the average value over here, 10,000. Okay, so this is how we do what, calculate the average minimum salary. Okay, so after getting that average, what we did, we applied for the maximum. So from those salaries, which is the maximum one, so the maximum one from that one is 10,000. Okay, so this is the single value that you get it over there. So every time assume that the maximum value will be only one, not more than that. Okay, and that's how we write it down. Okay, now the outer query receives that output from the subquery, which is also receives the output from the nested subquery stated above. So select job ID average salary from employees, group by job ID having average salary, and then the output that we have seen right now, that is a subquery. And there was another subquery that is called as nested subquery over there. So here in simple words it is written like this, simply select job ID average salary from employees, group by job ID having average salary less than 10,000. So this problem was solved using what, subqueries, using the nested subqueries over here. So this is how what we do, we try to solve the problems over here using the nested subqueries. Okay, because the 10,000 is the amount that we don't know. So what we did, we search it out from the tables, and then afterwards we use that to search for the main queries. Okay, so based on that you'll get the average salaries over here like this. So there are multiple examples over there that you need to go through it. This is how we use what, nested subqueries over here. Okay, so there are two examples for that nested subqueries, so you can go with it same way it is there with the representation, the pictorial one representation, fetching the records and then executing one by one. So the first one is the inner query which executes, then the outer query, and then the outermost query. So this is the sequence that you need to follow. Okay, now the next topic is using the subqueries in the having clause. So you can use the subqueries in the having clause to filter out group of records, just as the where clause is used to filter rows of records. The having clause is used to filter groups. Because of this, it becomes very useful in filtering on aggregate values such as average, summations, and count. So the power of using a subquery is the having clause is now you don't have to hard code values within the comparison. So you can rely on the subqueries results you do so for you. Okay, for example, it is now possible to compare the average of the group of the overall average people. So we have always been able to use average of the group in the having clause, but had no way to compute the overall average. It's compute, COMPUTE, compute the overall average now using the subquery. So this is possible over here now. Okay, so in this example we are selecting the employee's job title having remaining vacation hours greater than the overall average for all the employees. Here is a query written without the subquery. So this is a simple query which is not having any subqueries over here. So here what we are using the average, that is having keyword. Okay, so having clause is being used, and with the help of the having clause we are defining it. So select job title average vacation hours as average vacation hours from human resource employees group by job title. Having average vacation hours should be greater than 50. So vacation hours which are greater than 50, those records should be displayed, not other than that. Okay, so now what we'll do, instead we don't know what is the 50 or average over here, we are going to use with the help of what, nested or subqueries. Okay, so this is the concept that we are using over here. So the same syntax will be there, the only thing is having keyword, having clause will be there, and now in the having clause we will be writing the subqueries or nested subqueries. Okay, that's the main idea. Rest of the part is all the same over here. Okay, the rules that you need to follow is the inner query will be executed first, then the outer query, and then the outermost query. So this is how we follow the sequence over here. Okay, so as you can see over here, the same example is there. The only thing is after that, which we are using 50 over there, instead of 50 what we are writing, another select statement. So this is called as subqueries. What we use the word subqueries. Okay, everyone understood the concept? So having can be used with the subqueries as well as. So when from the exam point of view they are asking you subqueries with the example of having, so this is how you need to write it down. The only thing is after that having clause you need to define the subquery. Okay, so I hope so this is clear to everyone. Okay, now introducing to MySQL transactions. So transactions is nothing but, like I'm in MySQL, we use to check whether the commands has been executed or not. So for the execution purposes we are using this one, that is called as transactions. Okay, so normally we use the transactions into our databases. So like first query is the latest sales order number from the order table, and use the next sales order number as a new sales order number. So this is how we're going to use what transactions. So next insert a new sales order into the order table, then get the newly inserted sales order number. So after that insert the new sales order items into the order table and with the sales order number. Finally select data from both orders and order details table to confirm the changes. So this is how we use the word transaction. That only happens in the online also. Like for example, if you're going for Amazon and then you are ordering and placing an order on the panel, so what happens, your order has been placed but it is not confirmed until unless you paid it. So this is what is called as transaction is all about. Okay, so one command is dependent on the another one. So if it is being confirmed with the second command, then and only then the first command will be executed. So this is called as transactions in SQL. Okay, the same concept we are using over here. So based on what data. So if multiple users are using that table, what will happen? Like duplication error will be there, and copying and pasting, like when an order is being placed, so might be that stock of the order is not available, so we need to check it that time also. So at that time what we do the locking table. So locking table is nothing but what we'll do, we'll try to lock the table until or unless the first command is successfully executed, then it will go for the second one. Why? Because if suppose the first customer is placing the order on the Amazon and by any means he cancelled the order, so will the order will be placed? No, the product is there, but the quantity is also the same. Okay, and then the second order is being placed by someone else, second customer, so he can check it out whether the quantity in stock is available or not. If it is available, then he can buy it out. That's why we are using what? Locking tables, which is also introduced in like transactions. Okay, SQL transactions. So MySQL transactions like provide us with the following important statements to control the transaction. So start a transaction, use the start transaction statement to begin work, are the aliases of the smart transactions to commit the transactions and make it changes permanently, and use a commit statement. So when we are going to start, we use a start transaction, that is something called as a begin one, and then afterwards when it is confirmed, it is executed perfectly, so we use the word as commit. For example, to roll back the current transaction and cancel its changes, you can use a rollback. That means, as I told you, the order is not successfully placed, so that order should be cancelled. So that's why we use what? Rollback. So to disable or enable the auto commit mode for the current transaction, you use the set auto commit. Auto commit means whether it should go automatically or not. So that's why we can have another word that is called as auto commit over here. Okay. So by default you can use as auto commit 0 or auto commit off or auto commit 1 or auto commit on. So that means as soon the executing of the command is done, so it is going to be stored in the database. So auto commit is there. So if you are off the auto commit, that means when until unless the command is completely executed, then and only then it will perform or execute, otherwise no. Okay, if the auto commit has been on, so that means as soon as the command is executing, it is going to be updated in the table itself. Okay, so MySQL transaction examples are, as you can see, order and order details table from the sample table for the demonstration. Orders are there as well as order details are there. So based on that, order number, order date, required date, ship date, status, comments, customer name, order number, product code, quantity order, price each, and order line number. So what are these? These are called as MySQL transaction examples. Okay, so basically we have the two tables. Based on the two tables we have the columns over here, and based on the columns we are going to perform the transactions. So commit example we are going to see over here. First, start transaction by using the start transaction statement. Next, select the latest sales order number from the order tables and use the next sales order number as the new sales order number. Then insert a new sales order in the order table. After that, insert sales order items into the order details table. Finally, commit the transaction using the commit statement over here. Okay, so optionally you can select data from both orders and order details tables to check the new sales order. The following is the script that performs the above statement or steps. So you have start transaction, select, then from, and insert into, and then the values. Okay, followed by what? Insert into another one if you are having, and that's how we do it. So this is how the steps of sequence executes in transactions. So whenever we talk about transactions, so transaction is not about one single command, one single statement. Now there will be multiple statements which are executing all in one. So this is called as transactions in simple words. Okay, so multiple select queries are executing, and they are executing line by line, first statement, second statement, third statement, fourth statement, and when all are executed, then a transaction is said to be completed. Okay, and if it is committed, that is called as successfully done, and if it is rollback, that means it is not successfully executed. Okay, so this is how we define it over here. You can use the help of the joins also. In the joins tables you can use this transactions. Okay, then rollback. So what is a rollback? The simple concept that if the order is in place and the order is not confirmed, so what it should do, delete that order, and that is something called as rollback. So rollback doesn't do anything, it just does what? It deletes the current executions that has been performed in the table. Okay, so that the data in the table should be updated and maintained based on the stocks availability. Okay, so this is something called as rollback transactions. So rollback, whenever rollback happens, that means delete is going on. That's the only thing. Rest of the part is all same. Start transaction and then delete from the table. So this is the function of the rollback that happens in the background. So this is how we just checking the availability, that is select count star from orders. So count is something what checking how many quantities are there. Okay, and it will show it over here. So if it is available in the stock, it will show it to you. If it is not, it will not show it to you. Okay. So you can get the idea of the rollback. So basically speaking, in transactions, we are using what? Start, comment, and rollback. So these are the three main commands over here. But basically speaking, these all commands are written at once in a transaction. So this is called as SQL transactions in short. So I hope so this is clear to everyone. So transaction is nothing but like start of the transaction, that is something called begin. Then we have like commit if it is successfully done. If it is not successfully done, that is called as rollback. And then afterwards we have the delete one, which is happens with the rollback. So I'll give you a simple example of it. What is the example? When you go for the ATM machine and you use credit card, so debit card over there in the machine, suppose you enter the debit card into the machine and just enter the pin code and you try to take out the amount, and for example by mistakenly if you enter the wrong pin, will the transaction happens? No. So this is called as rollback. Okay, and when you enter the correct pin with the correct card and so on, the amount, what will happen? The transaction which is completed, then and only then the cash will come out of the machine. So this is called as successfully committed. So this is the same example that we follow over here: commit, rollback, and the start one. So this is the part which is known as SQL transactions. So I hope so this is clear to everyone. Next time we'll start with the new topic, that will be the unit number 4. Thank you very much. Have a good day to all.